Listen closely, something is wrong in these halls. Friday, late winter, a quiet settling over everything. Classrooms wait, breath held, like they know what's coming. Even the lockers seem to lean in, listening. No one sees it yet, but it's already here. If you listen, really listen, you can hear the ghosts of a school day. The echoes of shouts and laughter, the slam of 1,000 lockers, the squeak of sneakers on linoleum. But on that Friday afternoon in late February, the halls were silent. A heavy, waiting kind of quiet that felt different, colder. It was the last period of the day at a public middle school in central Ohio. A time usually filled with the frantic energy of kids desperate for the weekend. But the building felt like it was holding its breath. Outside, the sky was a familiar, oppressive gray, that dull Midwest winter light that never really feels like daytime, sucking the color from the world. Inside, the air was thick with anticipation, but not for the final bell. It was something else. An unspoken tension that had settled over us without anyone knowing why. We were all restless. Our teacher, sensing the futility of a real lesson, had given up and let us play a quiz game on his computer. It was a weak attempt at normalcy, a distraction from the strange feeling that clung to the air like the winter chill. We tried to pretend. People were laughing, talking in hushed tones, the quiet murmur of a class winding down. For a moment it almost worked. Nothing felt unusual. It was just another Friday. Then a sharp crackle broke the calm. The intercom turned on. The voice that came through didn't sound prepared. It was the dean, and he sounded scared. "This is not a drill. All teachers initiate lockdown immediately. No explanation, no countdown, just panic in his voice." Our teacher shut off the lights and locked the door. We were told to move to the back of the classroom and stay quiet. A few minutes passed, then the power cut out. No lights, no heating system, no familiar school sounds. In February, in Ohio, that silence felt wrong. At first we heard yelling far down the hallway. A man's voice, then screaming. It echoed off the lockers, loud, angry, and completely unhinged. He was running, slamming into lockers as he passed, screaming threats. The sound was a slow, methodical thudding. I remember thinking how strange it sounded in that long, empty hallway. The acoustics made it feel like it was coming from everywhere at once, bouncing off the cold metal lockers and tiled floor. It was a sound that didn't belong. It wasn't a janitor's cart or a late student's heavy footsteps. It was something else, something deliberate. We all looked at our teacher, whose face had gone pale. She held a finger to her lips, but we were already silent, listening. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the sound stopped. Right outside our classroom. Right outside room 214. There was a moment of absolute suffocating silence. The kind of quiet that's so heavy you can feel it pressing in on you. No one moved, no one breathed. The only sound was the frantic thumping of my own heart in my ears. Every nerve ending was on fire, waiting. And then the door shook. Hard. A violent splintering crash against the frame that made the whole room jump. Someone in the room whispered, "Oh my God." A girl near the window started crying, a quiet, choked sound she tried to stifle with her hands. But the pounding continued, again and again, a relentless, furious rhythm. It wasn't just a person trying to get in, it felt like pure rage trying to break through. With every slam, I honestly believed that door was about to splinter and fly open. We were just waiting for it to fail. And then, it stopped. Footsteps moved away down the hallway. The screaming faded. No one moved. No one spoke. We stayed frozen in the dark, waiting for something else to happen. Eventually, the intercom came back on. The dean explained that a man had entered the building and attacked the front desk worker. Staff didn't know if he was armed. The school didn't have security cameras yet. No armed security, just locked doors and hope. They never found him during the lockdown. The school had emptied out hours before. The only sounds were the hum of the fluorescent lights and the squeak of the janitor's cart making its final rounds. He was checking doors when he found one unlocked, a small storage closet near the back of the school, by the old gymnasium. He opened it, and there, wedged between shelves of dusty towels and a mop bucket, was the man. He wasn't just asleep, he was collapsed, curled into himself, looking disheveled and utterly broken. The janitor quietly backed away and called security, who then called the police. But the official report was thin. The real story came later, trickling out in hushed conversations between teachers and staff. According to what spread afterward, the janitor mentioned the man had a heavy coat and that something in the pocket was weighing it down, almost touching the floor. He had a gun. By the time police arrived to a cordoned-off, silent school, the closet was empty. He was gone. No one ever saw him again. We never learned his name or why he chose our door. We only knew the shape of what almost happened. And every time I pass a school hallway now, especially in winter when the light is cold and gray, I think about him. I think about the sound of his knuckles on the door and the sound of his crying. And I think about how close that day came to ending very, very differently.